Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Urshel Speaks. So excited to share a few things and talk about some things that are important to me, important for our nation. And so thanks for taking a few minutes to wake up and spend some time with us this morning. And let's get right into it. We're going to be hard hitting today and shooting from the hip as usual, talking about Memorial Day. And not just Memorial Day, but really the concept of looking back and looking forward, and looking back for the purpose of looking forward so that the future is as good as it can be. And so, over the past few years, especially as I've gotten more involved, just going back, a while now with the veteran community, one of the trends that I've noticed over the past 5 or 6 years is around Veterans Day, especially with the social media that we have today, Facebook and Twitter and all the ways that people communicate. There are a lot of reminders now leading up to Memorial Day, focusing on the fact that this is not Veterans Day, that this is not a day of celebration. This is not a day that's focused on barbecues and furniture sales and getting a discount on cars and things like that. But this is for remembrance of those who have paid the ultimate price, those who have died in combat, those who did not come home. And there's a lot of great memes, a lot of things out there that really help us to remember that. There's a great organization that many people I know are involved with called Carry the Load. And they really spend the whole year focusing on this time of year and doing the marches and things that they do to support those that did come home but are still dealing with the fact that they may have lost friends or brothers or family members. We just had the dedication in Frisco of the Gold Star Memorial that's there, celebrating the Gold Star families that have lost someone. And so there really has been, from my perspective and from my experience, there really has been a focus on making sure that as we remember and we do celebrate Memorial Day, we do celebrate these heroes and those that sacrifice their life, but making sure we keep the main thing. And it makes me think about some of the other things that I've heard throughout my life. Those that don't learn from history or what, they're doomed to repeat it. And understanding the things that it has taken to get us where we are, understanding the sacrifices that have been made, understanding the successes that we've accomplished, understanding not only that, understanding the failures, the mistakes, and all of these things that are important, because we look back oftentimes, well, we look back for a lot of reasons, but oftentimes we look back so that we can move forward. And we can move forward, and we should be wiser, we should be stronger, we should be better. The looking back on history, remembering, should allow us to move forward in a way that makes us better, that allows us to, again, not repeat those same mistakes and not repeat those same challenges. And it's very important. And, even when it comes to Memorial Day, I've heard, lots of different stories about how Memorial Day actually began. But, there's facts out there. And you can go and look at it. You can go research and see the facts of where even this recognition of those who fought and died, where this began, I believe in South Carolina. These are things that you can go and check out. But it's really important. And one of the challenges that I see, and one of the things that I want to address today, is that it is important that we look back. It is important that we remember. And it's important that we pay attention to the past and that we acknowledge the past so that we can effectively move forward. And one of the reasons why I say that is this year in particular, And it's no different really than any other year. But this year in particular, there's a recognition and a memorial of something that is also a part of our nation's history. And the reason why I think it's so important that we don't gloss over some of these things is because over the past year, racially in our country, we have experienced a lot. We've experienced a lot of challenges. We've faced a lot of things that we necessarily weren't looking to face or deal with. And I look at those things, and when you look back in history, it seems like there are things that we have not learned from and things that we haven't paid attention to. And as I've been looking and as I've been reading and studying and watching things that are on television, one of the things that I realized that just like there may be some dissonance about the origins of Memorial Day and where it started and how they celebrated it up north and also how it was celebrated and who celebrated it down south. There may be some dissonance and some disagreement about that, but there comes a point where now we're all recognizing that this is who we're celebrating and this is why. This is who we're remembering and this is why. And today, yesterday and today is 100 years since a massacre took place. And this wasn't the only one, but a massacre took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And an affluent community was destroyed, planes, buildings torched, people shot, bodies in the street. And this is a part of the American story that, I didn't know about. I never read about, never heard about. And actually, the first time I heard about it was from a financial guy who was using this as a really to educate and promote his financial business and strategies, but was using this to educate people. And that was maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I'm 51 years old. And I'm a person that likes to read, that likes to be educated, and never heard about this particular massacre that took place in Tulsa over 100 years ago. A community of over 36 blocks of affluent people that were absolutely massacred and destroyed. There are people alive today, 102 years old, 107 years old. There are people that are alive today that lived through that massacre and still tell the stories of what happened. But because it's hard, because it's challenging, because it's not one of those beautiful, amazing stories that we like to tell and that we like to celebrate and say, look at how awesome we are as a nation, or look at the great heroes and the stories of what happened, because it's one of those things that it's hard to look at. It's hard to face the realities of what happened and why they happened. But here's my concern, here's my challenge, here's my thought, and this is something that I know to be true. It's easy to look back and tell great stories about heroic events and things that make us feel good about who we are. But I think when we use this terminology of saying those that fail to learn from the past are destined to repeat it, I think that if we don't look at some of these things that are hard, that are challenging, some of these things that don't make us proud and make us want to beat our chest and shout, to the whole world, this is why America is the greatest nation on the planet and the greatest nation that's ever existed. If we don't look at those things, and if we don't learn from those things, and if we don't educate based on those things, that's where we put ourselves in trouble. Because, my life is filled with so many amazing people, so many wonderful, loving, caring people. But here's what I know, is that even with great people with great intentions and great desires and great hopes for the future, one thing I know is that if we don't all base our decisions, our lives, our understanding off the same set of facts, if we don't all pay attention and look back and say, this is the reality of what's happened, now let's learn from it together. Because if we do that, well, let me tell you a story. This is a true personal story. I had a great friend in high school, and he was Korean, and he was first generation Korean, born in America. And we went to high school together, and he was a great guy. And we became really good friends, spent a lot of time together. This guy was a part of my wedding when I got married. And but his mother, he never invited me to his house. We never, the couple times we went there, never went inside. His mother had an experience with a man who looked like me, same skin color, and she was born in Korea. And as a result, she had a tremendous amount of fear of men who looked like me. Even though I was a teenager and even though I was his friend, she had a tremendous fear, right? Now, I was never offended by that or even challenged by that. He explained it to me again. I knew our relationship, and that never bothered me. But I could have very well said, well, she's racist and she's this and she's that. But this is a person that came here not knowing the language, by herself, a single mother, and experienced a trauma that affected the way that she felt. And for me to not acknowledge and understand that, and take a line that says, well, that wasn't me, that was somebody else, and not show some level of understanding, doesn't say much about who I am as a person. And when we look at the realities of things that have happened in history, things that have happened in our country, things that have happened in other countries, and we understand that these are facts, these are realities, these are a part of the American fabric. And we have to look at them, acknowledge them, embrace them as truth, accept them together, and then look forward on how we can be better, how we can be greater. We can't be afraid to look at the blemishes. We can't be afraid to look at the challenges. We can't be afraid to look at the things that don't make us proud. But if we do it, and if we do it together, and if we educate together, then guess what? We can be proud to move forward together because we know that we'll be better. We know that we won't repeat the same mistakes of the past. And then we'll be able to look at other people and say, you know what? I didn't experience what you experienced, or your father or your grandfather or your great grandfather, but I understand, just like I had to understand my friend's mother. We can understand, this is why you feel the way you do. This is why these areas are challenging for you. This is why you have to confront and deal with things that I never would have thought of, never would have thought of. I've learned so many things in the last few months, just about different laws and things, and how they impact women and how they impact other people that I've never encountered in my life. And if I don't understand that, if I don't acknowledge that and recognize this is what it is, this is how it impacts other people, this is how it shapes the thought, the feelings, the emotions. This is why the conversation around this dinner table is different than the lifelong conversation around this dinner table, and why people grow up thinking different things, believing different things. And a big part of it is because people are coming into it with a different set of facts. Now, we cannot escape people coming into situations with a different set of experiences. We're all going to have different experiences. But the facts are the facts. The information is out there. The education can be had. And that's where we cannot fail. We cannot fail to educate properly so that we understand our history, our American and our world history, and we understand it from a fact perspective. Well, we don't try to whitewash things. We don't try to make everything beautiful and rosy. We don't try to somehow take every circumstance and make whoever we want to be the heroes of the story. Some great people have done bad things. Some bad people have done great things. We can look at history objectively. We can look at it in a fact-based way. And then, as a nation, as a people, as humans, as a part of humanity, we can move forward wiser, smarter, and better because we have a greater understanding. Because one of the things that does level the playing field is understanding and really knowing the facts of what got us to where we are. And then I believe that reasonable people can, from that point, make decisions and judgments of how to move forward. We can have greater understanding. We can have better conversations, which is really a part of what moves us forward. So my encouragement to you is go out and look at the facts, read, study, pay attention, watch the documentaries that you would normally watch. Look at the things that don't make you comfortable, but that educate you. Not just, we can't just look at John Wayne movies and say this is the American story, right? We have to look at the facts and the things that have happened and take that in and let it do what it's supposed to do. So many things that I watch and read don't make me feel great. I have books that I've thrown across the room only to have to walk across the room, pick that book up and read it and accept the information so that I'm better equipped to make the decisions, to move forward with a better brain, with a better understanding. So we look back, look at the facts, look at the reality so that we can look forward and we can do that. It takes courage to do both. It takes integrity to do both. As we honor those who have fallen, let's honor them by acknowledging the realities of our past and accepting the opportunity that we have to live a life based on facts and move forward and to become that more perfect union. My name is Urshel Metcalf, United States Marine. I love all my friends, all my people. I love you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Please like, share, leave a comment. I hear from so many people that have watched these on YouTube and watched them later on Facebook. Please, even if you're watching this later, please leave a comment. Please like and share, go to the YouTube channel and help us get these messages out, having real conversations because we're here to change the world. My name is Urshel. You go have a great week.